Making another video. Making another video. What a week. What a year. What a month. I wanted to talk today because, holy shit, right? I think everyone's feeling the same way. Holy shit. How is this possible that this is happening? Every day there is some new crazy information coming out, all because of one bully. And obviously a lot of people who are supporting and abetting the behavior. But really, if we break it down for a second, it's one person. And I'm going to say it's Mark Burnett. Just kidding. He's the executive producer of The Apprentice. And I really do, all joking aside, think that we have ourselves to blame for this. We have reality television to blame for this. We checked out. I've talked about it before. But we did. We checked out. We were too busy, checking. Let's see what's going on. Let's see what's happening in other people's lives. And we forgot about each other and we forgot about ourselves. And now, of course, we're all feeling this horrible vibration that's happening. People are having nightmares. It's terrible. And people are wondering why. Why is that happening? How is that happening? And there is something called the global consciousness. And the interesting part is science, which I know some people don't believe in. That's okay. But science actually says that there is a measurable vibration on planet Earth when things that are terrible happen. And things that are terrible, just as a reminder for people, because I think people have been a little confused about what terrible is, but terrible things like aggression and violence and anger and all those horrible negative emotions that pull energy out of a room, there's a lot of that in the world right now. Right? It's being brought out of the woodwork. We're all feeling this kind of underlying feeling. We're seeing a lot of things that we can't believe. We can't believe these things are happening. We can't believe that people behave this way. And this is where I'm here to just break it right down for you. We didn't fix the trauma. We as human beings have had trauma for decades, generations, where we had a situation where a lot of people went off to war in World War II. We've had wars like Vietnam, which I know, that took a real hit on my own family. But there have been a lot of conflicts that were based on ideology. They were based on, with World War II, they're based on the teachings of a madman. Proven in history, this was a madman, but he was very intelligent and he was very tactical, and he built a plan which essentially created World War II, right? I mean, the whole culmination of a lot of what was going on in World War II was what was happening in Germany with Hitler. We're seeing the same behavior coming out of the United States. I know a lot of people are talking about, end of times. And you know what? Quite frankly, I don't know how we could get any closer. But that's a good thing. Because I don't know if we were going anywhere good. And I think that's where we all have to sit down and take a look at what we've been contributing as individuals in our lives and go, could have probably done better. And I think that's the message for all of us. We have forgotten community. We have forgotten connection. We have prioritized competition and money and ego over everything else. So I would hazard to say, in a way that some people might not enjoy hearing, the idea of this being end of times, or that these things were actually foretold in the book of Revelation or from Nostradamus or in any prediction of any seer. Of course, we have let money and power, ego-driven power, control our society. We have people in the world that are starving, and because they're far away, or maybe we don't know them because people are starving in North America, it's happening. But because we're not, connected to them, or we're busy checking what the Kardashians are doing, we have forgotten that we are all connected and we are all a part of this. And when people say, oh, it's too far gone, what are we supposed to do? Wake up! That's what you can do. Wake up. Change the things that you're doing in your life. Change how you're imposing yourself on the world. become a little more self-aware of what you could be doing and what other people need around you, and that a lot of people are in a lot of pain, and deal with people with fierce compassion. The people who are still presenting a united front around this person's rhetoric, although he's obviously mentally ill and the entire government has been compromised by Vladimir Putin. We cannot deny that any longer. I've been saying it for like 7 months or longer that the American public got had. You got conned. And I've been waiting for there to be a unification of left and right to go, oh, we got scammed, because there's nothing that Americans hate more than getting screwed. And all these people who are Trumpians or Trump supporters, they're human beings. And at the end of the day, they are dealing with misinformation. They have been taken advantage of by the system. Again, they've been taken advantage of for a very long time, which is why they're in the position they're in and looking for a different solution. And this person rises up and goes, I'm that guy. I am that guy. I'm going to help you. And they all got manipulated. And it's really hard for them to understand that maybe this didn't really happen. And maybe that just because they went and voted doesn't mean that all those other people did. And the challenge is he built a propaganda machine and he is continuing to use it. And now we know, and now it's time to do what, quite frankly, Star Wars taught us to do. Use the Force. Because Emperor Palpatine is taking control, and this will end up in war. If we are not careful, and if we don't get this guy out of power as soon as possible, it will end up in nuclear war. It's just the way it is. That's the way it is. And of course, because this guy is crazy, and he's totally beholden to people because of money. He's totally in debt. His whole family is like a crime family. And if you are not guilty, you don't talk about pardoning yourself. It's time to admit that the trauma of not dealing with our shit is what got us here in the first place, and it's time to actually sit down and go, okay, how do we fix this? And quite frankly, how we fix this is not separately. It's not disconnecting, it's not getting angry, it's not giving up, it's standing up and saying, I don't agree with this, and I'm going to get on the phone, I'm going to make this a priority, and I'm going to change my day because this is important for everyone. I'm Canadian. This isn't really impacting me, but it is. Because I care about human beings. I care about people having access to things that they, quite frankly, deserve. And I also have lived in the United States. I'm half American. I know what Americans are capable of. And I also know what American women are capable of. And it's time for us to realize that all these years of the civil rights movement, of all the things that have been happening with Indigenous people in North America, that whole outlook has caused where we are now, which is we have a bunch of people who are behind. They're behind on information. They're behind on basic needs and requirements. There's literally generations of people who haven't worked in 30 years. That's normal in the United States. No one's helping them, yet you have these rich people at the top, and there's a lot of generous people in the United States. And this isn't a time to name all the great people. This is a time to call you to action. But there's a lot of amazing people doing a lot of amazing things with private equity. But yet, there's these people that are trying to remove even more power and more rights and more humanity. And if that is not something that is resonating with you as being wrong, it's time to wake up and realize that you're not going to be able to get out of that hole of trauma and entitlement and whatever it is that's holding you down. And listen, I've been there, which is why I'm speaking so adamantly about it. You can get out of it. I am a recovered addict myself. I have come through trauma and sexual abuse. I've done it, but it's hard work. It's hard work to get out of that. There's a lot of my family that were not connected because there's such an ideological breakdown. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop. It just means that some people, I'm not the person to wake them up. Maybe you are. So that's why this is about us connecting together and stop thinking about all the crazy stuff he's doing and get on the phone and do something. All that time you were spending on the Kardashian sites and doing whatever else you were doing before, move it. Help these people in the States join the resistance, get involved, talk about what's going on, amplify it, and don't just pretend that your day is okay, because it's not. I am hearing from so many people about how they're not sleeping, about all these things going on, and if we start to open up, we'll realize we're all in the same boat, and the only way this is going to change is to slap ourselves in the face, get back to community, and stop this, because if you look at the way that we were at the beginning of time, I mean, we don't want to go back to Paleolithic because there was some clubbing and stuff happening, but when we were working as tribal-based societies and we had our own, tribal council, tribal law, community, it takes a village, you would be able to identify people like this. They have gotten through all of the barricades because they paid. That is wrong. We have put far too much emphasis on money and power that's not authentic. There is something within each of us that is a driving force of why we're here, and I cannot fathom how people are not taking at least an hour of the day with what's going on in the world right now to get active, because I have no idea how, as someone alive in 2017, that all those people that lived in order for you to be here, that you don't think you have to do anything, or you think that it's too far gone. Thank God that my grandfather's generation didn't do that. It's time to wake up, it's time to stop being babies, and it's time to do something and to act together. And if you feel like you can't do it, reach out and talk to people about it, because there's people out there. The community I'm seeing is amazing. It's amazing. And we need to learn something, and it's not to divide. It's to re-educate, it's to be fiercely compassionate, and to stand up and say, no, I don't think so. This is one bully. What do you do with a bully? You keep reporting them and reporting them and reporting them and reporting them and giving them a smaller and smaller window of opportunity. And that's what needs to happen here, because he's trying to distract, he's trying to demotivate, and the challenge is he's using KGB tools to do it. So that's why it's upsetting. That's why he's doing it. Don't pay attention. Know what's going on very clearly and stop him from continuing to be in power. That's all that needs to happen. It's not about all these things that he keeps doing. It's not about the people he keeps replacing. It's about eyes on the prize. Get him out of office. Then we're united. We can figure out what's next. That's how we do this. It's not separately. Thank you. That's all I'm going to yell at you today. Hang in there.